Hello, everyone. So, straight off the or hot off the presses here, we have the court documents from the U.S. District Court in the Ippei Mizuhara of the Japanese star, Los Angeles Dodgers superstar Shohei Ohtani's interpreter, with the illegal sports betting that's been going on, and a lot of opinions has come through that, whether or not Ohtani was involved, etc. So apparently, I went ahead and read through this document. So I'm gonna go ahead and just go through the main important part of the potatoes of this. But it is very important to note here that this is a lot of different bodies of work that went into this investigation. There was the IRS, there is the Department of Homeland Security, there's FBI, there's like a whole bunch involved. So I will say this: it's very hard to pay off everybody to get it to where Otani is free, right? So as much as I would like to believe, especially since they had caused all this confusion that Otani was involved, reading everything, maybe he really wasn't as involved. Could he have still been part of it and he's still a fall guy? Sure. Is he going to get away with it if that was the case? Absolutely 100%. Is it more plausible, though, that he really didn't know everything? Probably. Probably. I still have my reserves because this is a lot of money, and there's still some money unaccounted for. That's the part where there's still going to be a little bit of interpretation of what's going on here. But the gist of everything so far is that they have records of this guy, Mizuhara, basically changing stuff in his account to cycle it over to his stuff, his devices. He had the bank account number changed, or the bank that's Otani's. He had the phone number changed to his number, Ippei's number. He had the email address changed to his email, etc. So, and this all happened around 2021, which is the start of his gambling. And this bank account was opened in 2018, and the bank was solely open for, primarily, it says here, MLB checks. So all his salary was going to this account. Is it possible that Otani didn't know that this was going on? Absolutely. And the reason why it's possible, because changing those things is going to be big. Now, how he was able to change it, though, is open to interpretation still, because I don't know how he did it. I don't think anybody's saying that he hacked it or anything like that. So I don't know how he got all this information. I'm not sure why Otani trusted him to open all this stuff up in the beginning of his MLB career. That's the part that has always been something that stuck out with me, is that if this guy is being hired in the United States to be your interpreter and you coming over from Japan, how did you have so much trust in the guy right away? That's the part that confuses me. And I brought this tweet here because it explained about the bank account part. It says, breaking news: the Department of Justice just announced that Shohei Ohtani's interpreter, Ippei Mizuhara, has been charged with bank fraud after allegedly stealing more than $16 million. $16 million. So the 4.5 that everybody thought, no, it almost was that a little over 3 times, almost 4 times as much. That's nuts. That's a lot of money. And this is the part that was very interesting here. Mizuhara is now facing up to 30 years in federal prison. The Department of Justice says that Mizuhara brought Ohtani to a bank in Arizona and assisted him with opening an account for his MLB paychecks. Mizuhara then allegedly denied Ohtani's reps access to the account. That is where I have a couple of questions. One, okay, he might have been able to look in the corner of his eye. Hey, look, this is the account number, whatnot, because he's the one that was there to interpretate everything, I guess, right? Or maybe he even had access to the documentations from that interaction, because he's doing the translation from English to Japanese to him. So I can 100% see how he has those numbers. Maybe afterwards he told Ohtani, hey, let me scan these, or let me have this for record, etc. And that way, if you have any questions, I can translate it to you, kind of thing. I can see that happening, right? So now he might have access right then and there, his social security number, his pretty much all his information. And so that's very 100% possible that it might not have been Otani's knowledge that he had, access to change things, but he definitely probably knew that he had access to do a lot of stuff with his bank account. Now, here's the thing though, that Mizuhara then allegedly denied Otani's reps access. I have questions about those reps then, because apparently this is where his money manager comes in, right? His financial advisors and all that stuff. If day one, whatever year, right? If this happened in 2018, how did it take so long for them to not tell Ohtani, hey, by the way, he's not letting us have access to this bank account where your major league salary is going to? Like, he should have been questioned in 2018 about that, or 2019. Hell, let's just say 2020 during the pandemic. 2 years after this account was open, hey, why did my guys not have access to my account? Can you answer that question honestly? Like, come on. Like, that's where I would have been like, what's going on here? Why are you denying him? He would need a very compelling argument for me to, to believe that, hey, what's going on here? I don't know. That's the one question I have about this. But again, like I said, if he's translating everything and he's the one that helped open the account, then I can 100% believe in how. And now I basically solved my own questioning with that, how he might have access because he was interpreting. So that it makes sense. It does make sense how he has access to that information. And then in 2021, this was according to this document here, right around page 3, I believe, or page 2. Let's see, where did I see that? It said about 2021 that he changed it right here. Between November 2021 and January 24, more than 16 million was transferred via wire from a checking account belonging to victim A, which is Ohtani, the professional baseball player, with an account number ending in X5848. That is held at financial institution Bank A. That Bank A is that bank in Arizona that apparently was open with the interpreter. It was here, right here. Bank records show that during the same time period, so this was back in 2021 when he was losing money, that X5848 account was changed to Mizuhara's phone number and to an anonymous email account, which is connected to Mizuhara. So in 3 years then, right? That would be 3 years. He changed the information. Again, I don't know when the team was not involved in knowing, hey, how come I don't have access to it? But at that time, it changed to where he now had full control of the bank account. So again, he might have been able to do this, like I said, by helping him open the account, and he had documents himself. It took him 3 years to finally change it to himself, basically. Left Ohtani's name alone, but now he has access. That's a scary thing. Now he has access to Ohtani's account. And let me go to page 16. Like I said, this is out there. If you want to go ahead and read the full amount, or if you want to catch me on my stream, I'm going to be going through the whole document, reading this thing at Twitch TV/siggyv. But in page 16 is where they start breaking down the numbers, and they have a lot of phone conversations that they got, text messages and things like that. Apparently, Ohtani was scot-free in all of it. They don't have any records of anybody talking to Ohtani. So while the wire transfers were in his name, because Mizuhara had access to the account and was approving the banks, anytime the bank questioned, hey, how, is this you? Is this you? And he's saying yes, yes, yes. Or if they call him, they're not gonna know what he sounds like, right? So they're just, okay, we're gonna believe you. He has access to all the passwords and everything, because he basically, in the 3rd year of that account, he changed it all to his stuff. In page 16, where they break down the money, right here, account records for the X5848 account show millions of dollars in wire transfers and transactions. Or members of the investigation team that I have spoken with reviewed bank statements for the X5848 for Shohei Ohtani. Based on my review of these records, I am aware of the following. Based on my training, experience, and knowledge, this makes sure I know that illegal sports books typically keep records only under anonymous names. Oh, that was back at the top part. Those are the little footprints here. What he knew is the X58 account was held in the name of the victim A and was opened in about March 2018. That was that tweet about the Arizona. X5848 account was almost exclusively funded by deposits identified as payroll, which is MLB, and it said a club located in Southern California, so that was during the Anaheim Angel days. So that was where Ohtani was playing. November 2021, X5848 account posted a debit transaction of $40,000 to Zoom.com, a PayPal service. Based on my training experience and knowledge of this, I believe this was the first unauthorized wire transfer from X5848 account by Mizuhara. Based on the timing and the amount of this transfer, I believe it reflects the transaction discussed in text messages, which is also above that they actually had, hey, I sent you $40,000, etc. Between February 2022 and October 2023, the X5848 account wired at least $15 million to X1911 account. So that's, I'm assuming, the account of the bookies. So in a span of just like what, 1.5 years, almost 2 years, $15 million was taken. So he did some heavy gambling in that time period. And for those that want to ask that question, how did Ohtani not know? One, he probably was being sent text messages for a lot of transactions or phone calls. He intercepted them all because the account names, like I said, got changed, or the account numbers got changed to Mizuhara's, and the email address got changed to him. So any way that the bank is trying to contact you, it's going to this guy. So Ohtani probably would not have known at all. Now, I still blame his team though, because if they have no access to his bank account information, what exactly were they even doing? What's his financial advisors doing? They just assumed that the money was fine. Did they not know that he probably spent money, buying this, buying that? Hey, you bought McDonald's today for $12. Like, what were they? How do they not have an accounting of his financials at this point? That's the part that confuses me. I'm still questioning that. It might not just be this interpreter that's scamming him, man. I would fire the whole team. I would start clean slate just based on what I'm seeing here, because I'd be like, hey, look, dude, y'all are my financial advisors. You don't have access to my account. You didn't tell me I didn't have access to my account. Like, what's going on here? What money are you even looking at? How did you know I have this much money? Unless he has a lot of accounts, it will still be weird that the one with the Major League Baseball paychecks is the one my financial advisors don't have access to. Oh my Lord. Especially with $15 million of it got wiped out in a year and a half. I mean, that's crazy. That is crazy. All right, on November 15, 2021, $40,000 was wired to Zoom. We already went over that. On May 16th, $500,000 was wired to the X1911 account. As noted above, on this day, Mizuhara told Bookmaker One that Mizuhara had initiated a wire for the same amount. So these are just all the verifications of how this guy was able to piece together each wire amount versus the text messages. And it's also important to note in this documentation that on March 20th, 2024 is when he admitted to the bookkeeper that, hey, I stole money from Ohtani. Like, at that point, that was up here around page 3 or 4 as well. Right here. Finally, on March 20th, Mizuhara sent Bookmaker One an encrypted text message admitting that he had stolen funds from victim A, Ohtani. So I guess at that point, because the bookmaker and this guy seem buddy, he might have told him, hey, look, man, me and Ohtani are tight. You don't got to worry about money. I get paid this much amount from him. I'm good for it. I don't know how he was able to be good for $15 million. I'm assuming the bookmaker at least thought that Ohtani was helping him in some form or some way or fashion. I don't know. It'd be hard to believe that $15 million in 1 year or almost 2 years was transferred without the bookmaker wondering, hey, you know what? This seems a little odd for somebody that's a translator. But he probably isn't going to care because he was getting the money anyways. In the end, this is the part that I wanted to show that was pretty intense here. Records reflect approximately 19,000 wagers between 2021 December and January 2024. So in the end, in almost 4 full years, a little more than 4 full years, right? He did 19,000 wagers, nearly 25 bets per day, ranged from anywhere from $10 to $160,000 per bet, with an average amount of roughly 12,800. So 25 bets a day that averaged $12,000 a day. The 35966 records reflect a total winning of 142 million and 182 million in losses. So 142 million in wins, 182 million in losses, which nets a net balance of negative $40 million. If he stole 16 million from Ohtani, that means there's another 24 million coming from somewhere else. And I don't think he was paid 24 million. He's not a baseball star. I don't think the interpreter going to get paid that much money. So I don't know where he got the other 24 million. That's interesting. And that I think is going to lead to more questions. But regardless of how anybody feels, like I said, I don't think anybody in the government is going to want to do Ohtani any favors. They're basically clearing him of all wrongdoing based on the information that they have. There's no record of Ohtani's phone numbers in this, right? Text messages or anything like that. The only thing they have is Ohtani's name in the bank account. But we already went over that Ippei had access to that and he changed it himself. So he didn't change Ohtani's name, but he changed the information to route everything to him. So he becomes very powerful with that information. He can make wire transfers. He knows how much money's in there. He could make a transfer to any other place because he has the access to it. And anytime the bank wanted to verify or ask questions, they only could contact him basically in the end. So Ohtani has no pop-up messages. He has no text messages. He can't see anything that's going on with the money. The only thing that he can do, I'm assuming, is that he has a debit card or something, and he can use his money, right? But again, I don't. Where is his team to tell him that since they're saying that they didn't have access? Why didn't they tell him after so many years? Hey, by the way, we never had access to this account. I that's the part that's just mind blowing. He needs to fire everybody, man. Seriously, he needs to not trust no one at that point because these guys didn't even do their job. A financial advisor not having any information about your accounts, except other than I'm getting denied. Like, what is going on? I can't. Ippei is telling me I can't access your account. So I don't know how much money you really have, and you're paying me to figure out how much money you have. It's like, what is going on? X584 account was held in the name of the victim A. Ohtani was opened in about March 2018. That we already went over that. The account was almost exclusively funded by MLB Baseball. We saw that. Yeah. So in the end, I mean, you know what? While I have questions about the team and stuff like that, and while the timeline might have been confusing, I kind of do believe that Ohtani might have been kept in the dark in this. It's a lot of money though for him not to know anything, but I'm gonna give him the benefit of the doubt. That's a lot of money. $16 million in the end. 1.5 years was 15 million straight up. So then the last year was just a million. So he's obviously, his gambling went way down after that. Wow. Oh, they talk about it right here. I was able to understand there was an issue involving Mizuhara following the team meeting. Victim A asked Mizuhara what the issue was. Mizuhara told Ohtani that they needed to speak privately. Ohtani and Mizuhara then spoke at the team's hotel later that evening. During the conversation at the hotel, Mizuhara disclosed that to Ohtani for the first time that Mizuhara had substantial debts from illegal gambling and that Mizuhara has been paying his bookmaker with funds from the account that they opened together, basically. He also told Ohtani during that meeting that Mizuhara had falsely told Agent One and others that Ohtani had agreed to loan Mizuhara money to pay off the debts. Okay, so this also explains how there was a confusion and stuff like that. And so that was up here because that was the part that was kind of weird, was this part here. Let's see here. Mizuhara's responsibility to translate the victim. In this capacity, Mizuhara's responsibilities were to translate Ohtani. In addition, Ohtani separately employed Mizuhara to act as a de facto manager and assistant for Ohtani. In this capacity, Mizuhara would drive Ohtani, handle daily tasks for Ohtani, and translate and manage certain things of Ohtani's business and personal matters outside of MLB. In or around 2018, Mizuhara accompanied Ohtani to a bank in Arizona to assist in Ohtani in opening the account at X5848 and translated for Ohtani when setting up the account details. Ohtani's salary from playing professional baseball was then deposited to the X5848 account. Ohtani received additional income from numerous sources, including endorsements and investments. However, those funds are not deposited to the X5848 account. So he has his own separate account with a bunch of stuff that has a lot of money as well. Ohtani's domestic endorsements and related income were managed by Ohtani's sports agent, a professional bookkeeper retained by Agent One, a financial manager, and professional taxpayer. So he has. So this is the team. This is the team here. He has his agent handling one account, a professional bookkeeper retained by the agent. So this is the financial advisor and professional tax preparer that didn't have access to those accounts with the bank with the money, which is strange though still. So he had access to his accounts for endorsements and stuff. He didn't have access to his account for his salary, MLB salary, and the agent or this bookkeeper guy that works for the agent either told him, I mean, they said they told him, I don't know when, but hey, Ippei's not letting us have access to your account with your MLB salary. I would think that's the most important account, right? That's the consistent one. And you're paying me to be a bookkeeper, but I don't have access to this account. I don't understand right there why Ohtani from day one didn't say, why are you denying my team access to my account? Like, come on, man. Mizuhara always accompanied Ohtani to meetings with the agent. Mizuhara also accompanied Ohtani to meetings with Ohtani's accountants and financial advisors, but Ohtani recalled that there were only one or two such meetings. None of Ohtani's agents, accountants, or financial advisors spoke Japanese, and Ohtani relied on Mizuhara to translate the conversation with those individuals. Ohtani said that he believed that Agent One, his accountants, and financial advisors were monitoring all of his accounts, including X5848. So Ohtani thought that they were have access, which I would think that too. I'm paying you to be my financial advisor. I would think that also. Because Ohtani received income from a range of both foreign and domestic sources, Ohtani generally would not ask Mizuhara to inquire about specific accounts and instead would ask Mizuhara to inquire with the above identified financial professionals for an overall picture of his income or investment portfolio or profile. Ohtani never authorized any wire transfers to X1911 account or Associate 1, Bookmakers 123, or named account holders for X1530. Ohtani never gave Mizuhara control over any of his financial accounts, including X548 account. But again, he probably had access to it because he was helped open the account. Ohtani stated that he did not recognize email address that was listed as a primary address for the account. The first time Ohtani learned that Mizuhara had gained access to the account was on or about March 20th after an MLB game in Seoul, Korea. So then after all this time, he finally, the day that all this went down, found out that he had access to the account. Following the game, the team assembled by team management, locker room, and members of the team management, followed by Mizuhara addressing the entire team in English. No one translated what was said at this meeting to Ohtani, and he did not understand most of what was said in English. But Ohtani was able to understand that there was an issue involving Mizuhara. Following that team meeting, Ohtani asked Mizuhara, and he told them that they needed to speak privately. And we went over that. Okay, so that's why that he didn't know on that part. So that's probably why there was confusion. He was talking in English at that point. And Ohtani didn't know that he was saying that, hey, I'm Ohtani is going to pay my debts to this bookmaker. So that's why there was confusion. Okay. See, it's a good thing we read the whole thing because, like I said, the picture painted seemed odd from the beginning, right? There's confusion. They're saying one thing, they're saying the other. Like I said, though, the one thing I'm getting out of all this in the end is that the financial advisors and the agent, he needs to get rid of them because I do not understand how it took him all the way to the day that they got in trouble, March 20th, 2024, for him to realize that this account, you guys don't have access to, and apparently you were told that you can't get access to it by my interpreter, but you didn't come back to tell me that, like, you know what I mean? Like, Or if you did tell me, why didn't you tell me the nature of it, how serious this could be? Because what were you exactly were you bookkeeping at that point? How do you go 4 years without my main salary? What were you thinking? Like seriously. Ah. Ah. In addition to negotiating sports contracts for Ohtani, Agent One also negotiated domestic endorsements. Agent One's agency does not employ or individual who speak Japanese, but Ohtani would occasionally hire Japanese interpreters, or Agent One would occasionally hire Japanese interpreters to communicate with his clients. Agent One did not hire an interpreter to communicate with victim A, which is Ohtani, because Mizuhara always accompanied him. Agent One did not speak directly to Ohtani or regularly exchange text messages with Ohtani. Instead, he relayed messages through Mizuhara. So, Agent One retained an oversaw financial professional to Otani's domestic income, both from playing baseball and endorsement. Agent One was aware X584 account and asked Mizuhara on multiple occasions on the account. Mizuhara told Agent One that X5848 was private and that Ohtani did not want anyone else to monitor that account. And he didn't tell him that? Agent One stated that he did not confirm these representations directly with Ohtani, but stated that he had no reason not to believe him. So that's why. That's why. So he was told this, and then he just assumed that Ohtani didn't want them to count those financials because Mizuhara said these are private. Don't talk about this money. Ain't no way, man. Stated he had no reason not to believe Mizuhara. Ain't no way. Ain't no way, man. Wow. Wow. You're paying me to be your agent to negotiate contracts and salaries for Major League Baseball. I don't want you, though, to have access, or your bookkeepers or your financial advisor to have access to said salary. And he didn't think anything was wrong with that. That is crazy. Fire him. Fire him, chat. Fire him. Fire this agent. Fire the fucking financial advisor under him. Ain't no way. No way. JC is a professional bookkeeper employed by Agent One to keep track of Ohtani's business accounts. JC monitors a range of Ohtani's business accounts, executes transactions, and directed by Agent One, and collects and distributes materials. JC was familiar with the number of Ohtani's business accounts and expressed familiarity with the balances, operations, and transactions of those accounts. JC was generally aware of X584 account, but stated that she had never been given access to this account and did not know its balance or have any insight into activity in this account. Yeah, and we all know that now. JC was concerned that the lack of access to this account created possible tax liabilities for Ohtani if some numbers were not accounted or accrued. And like I said, 4 years this was going on, man. And so this person had concern. Hey, we don't have any tax information about this account, but yeah, I'm supposed to be your bookkeeper. That makes no sense. And obviously, she was telling her boss, and the boss was like, "Oh well, they told us not to touch it. Don't worry about it." Like what? Fire them all. JC was concerned by the lack of access to the accounts, created possible tax liability for Ohtani if the X584 account accrued unreported interest or was used to make gifts in amounts necessary to be reported to the IRS. When JC inquired with the agent about getting oversight, Agent One informed JC that Mizuhara had stated that Ohtani wanted the X584 account private, and that he understood that X584 account did not accrue interest or make gifts. Oh man. On or about April 1, 2024, I and or other members of the investigative team interviewed witnesses BL. Based on this interview, I was aware of the following. BL is a professional financial advisor, and they're going to be saying the same thing basically. He does not manage his Japanese investments. He oversaw most of his domestic accounts, was never given access to X5848, same thing. And when he asked about it, they told him about that it was private. And the other guy, KF, a witness, was an accountant, and they're all saying the same thing. They were told that he was not to have access to it because it was private. But they all expressed concerns to the agent. Hey man, this is weird. But the agent said, "Oh, we could trust the interpreter," and not tell Ohtani in the process. What? Oh my god. I mean, I guess it is a hard thing to do though, because you can't tell him in English, right? Like, but I would think, honestly, man, especially since I just read too that he had access to interpreters himself, I would have had my own guy at that point, especially after like year 2 of not having access to this motherfucker's account for 4 years. I would have had by at least year 2, the second year, had another interpreter, ask for Ohtani by himself, no interpreter, come over and be like, hey, I just want you to be aware that we just filed these taxes this year, and my team has concerns for you about gifts, accrued interest, and by the lack of not having this account. I know you want it privately, but I want to make sure with you personally, because I know if I talk to the interpreter, he's going to be translating for you and he can be saying whatever he wants. Here's my guy. I'm asking you, hey, tell him what I just said. And then maybe Ohtani would have been aware. Like maybe Ohtani at that point would have been like, holy shit, you're right. What? Why? What? You guys don't have access? I thought you said you had access. And then he would have talked to his guy, and then maybe they would have figured this out way before $15 million all of a sudden disappeared that second year. Man, that's crazy. All right, hey, in the end, you know what? Now I do believe Ohtani. Ohtani is free. Seriously, this is crazy. This is a failure on a lot of people. The agent failed him. Mizuhara failed him. Wow, the Angels failed him for hiring Mizuhara. Wow, chat. Wow. What do you guys think? Leave a comment in the section below. I'm out.